So today we're going to speak about AP Wizard. So with AP Wizard, you can create and maintain your AP invoices. You can mass upload or single. Oh, sorry, I have an issue with my headset. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
So you can also do matching against POs, receipts, and you can match against projects also. Then you can also download your invoices, one or multiple invoices using the invoice number, the supplier, or the transaction date ranges. And then we have provided an extension package that enable you to do more things on your invoice, like do holds and releases, cancel an invoice, update pay groups, payment method, these kind of things. So we'll go through all of this today. And then if you have some specific scenario you would like to talk about, we can also do that. So here is the AP Invoice Wizard. As you can see, it's really similar to the Supplier Wizard that some of you have seen yesterday. So when you open it the first time, you will get a pop-up asking you to enable the macros. And when you do so, you will get extra ribbons on top here. In these ribbons, you have all our functionalities. So let's go to the first ribbon, AP Invoice Wizard, and let's log in to our Oracle instance. You click on the About button to do that. Again, it's not mandatory to log into your Oracle instance to work on your data set. Our wizards are first and foremost Excel spreadsheet, so you can perfectly work on your Excel spreadsheet and share it among you without logging to your Oracle instance. But today we're going to start with that. So here is the list of my instances. So you already have your instances set up in your wizard since you have an ini file, I heard. So here I'm going to choose my instance and click on login. When I do that, it goes through the Oracle Security Gateway. So it's retrieving my responsibilities, but also my setup, like my descriptive flex fields, list of values, all those kind of things. When I click login, I get my Oracle browser login page. It shows up. Here I will use my usual Oracle credentials and click login. And after doing that, I get my responsibilities back.
Change that to LYC.
So here I want to choose a responsibility that has access to the AP invoice form in Oracle. So here I choose payables and I click continue. If I don't choose a responsibility that has access to the invoice creation in Oracle, I won't be able to do anything in the wizard. I won't be able to upload invoices or update or download invoices. So it's really important that your responsibilities today in Oracle match the functionality you want to use in the wizard. So when I'm logged in, I get this About form. Here I can take a look at the responsibility I'm using, and I can move between operating units or responsibilities using those two buttons. Of course, I need to have access to multiple operating units with my responsibility. On this About form, you will also see the button to add a license key and to maintain the users. But this, I think you have done it already. So let's close this and take a look. Yes?
Lily, I have a question. Now that you closed that, how do you get back to seeing that if I want to go in and switch responsibilities after I've done some work?
So you will click again on this About button here.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
And also, if you want to click on this button here, you have the information about the instance you are currently logged into. So if we go back to the wizard, we have a few tabs here. We have a setup tab with all information that you might need to install the software, put your license key, enter the users, and also user guide again. So when you click on that, it will take you to our user guide where you have basically everything described for each functionality. Then you have some example data set, like we always do. And so I have a clean data set example for today. So how is the wizard layout? Like all our wizards, it always starts with some status and messages columns here in light blue. These columns are here for the wizard to communicate with you at the end of the upload. So you will get the validation and upload status at the end. And if anything went wrong, you will see an error to help you correct your data. So these columns, you can just ignore them in the beginning. When you set up your data set, you won't need them. It's just for the end of the process. So then you have the main data columns here. Here you will have all the sections that you have in your Oracle form, but displayed in columns, basically. So here I have all the general information about my invoice, the supplier, the invoice number, and then the invoice line with the tax and account. And I also included the attachment section. So again, this layout is completely, you can completely tailor to your need and remove the columns that you don't need or hide them if you don't need them. Like any Excel spreadsheet, you will just highlight the columns you don't need and you will hide or delete them. And again, you can also bring up the template behind this wizard, the template with all columns, by going to the Setup tab, click Edit Template. It will bring up a new tab called Template 1, 2, 3 with all columns available in the wizard. And here you can just copy paste this template and create your own template from that. So it's quite easy to tailor this to your needs. So then, how would you create this data set? You have a few options. You can type the data in the Excel spreadsheet. You can also copy paste. You can use Excel formulas. Any Excel functionality is available. As you can see on top here, you have all your standard Excel ribbons, which are available. So you can perfectly sort your data, filter, all those kind of things. So in here, I have, for instance, used a formula for the invoice number. And I'm going to change the formula. So here I'm creating some invoices on multiple suppliers. Then I also have prepayments, credit memos. And then we have the invoice line section. Here I can either include the tax amount or only put the tax code, and the wizard will figure out the amount based on the tax code. And then we have the attachments.
Does this also do self-assess?
Sorry, why? What? I didn't get that.
Are we able to calculate self-assessed tax on this form?
Self-assessed. I'm not sure what you mean by that.
We have suppliers that don't charge us tax, and it is a taxable item. So we have to do a self-assessment on the tax,
Okay.
which we currently do in Oracle.
You can't do it in Oracle?
No, we do it in Oracle.
So yeah, everything basically that you can do in your Oracle form will be provided in the wizard. So you will be able to do it the same way as you do it in Oracle. Is it a different tax code, or how do you do this in Oracle today?
We currently have to drill into the tax,
Mm-hmm.
the tax details, and enter in a tax code.
Okay.
So we'd have to create like a tax code table and then do create like a VLOOKUP based on that.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Okay. So then the final way to enter your data would be to bring a user form. To do that, you can go on the ribbon on top, and you have a list of the forms available. So you can go to your invoice header, your invoice line. When you bring that, it's quite useful because it will load your list of values, your DFF. So you don't have to set up any of this in the wizard. It will be automatically retrieved in the forms. And you will see the yellow fields are mandatory. So it might help you to, when you have a doubt about what is mandatory. So in here, all the fields that are grayed out, it's the field that I did not include in my spreadsheet today. So that's why they don't appear in here. I can't modify them. And let's open the line form. You can also double click on any invoice to bring up the form, the user form. And so in here, if I want to search for my tax code and I don't know the name of the tax code, I can just put a wildcard, click on the 3 dots, and it will retrieve all my tax codes. And here you can say if you want to include the tax in the line, or if you want the tax to be added on top of your amount here. So final section I have included is the attachment. You can attach some documents on your invoices. You have multiple options. You can attach a file or attach a comment, a text that you will write, or a URL. So let's bring up the form for the attachments. So in here, if you put a file, you will take file, select a category of file, and then you will go browse to your personal you will go to your document and attach it here. So now that our data set is ready, we have some invoices and credit memos that we want to create and prepayments. We have a few options. We can take a look here at this validate option. We can either validate our data set. It will validate.
Could I just have you pause? Oh, I'm sorry. Could I just have you, this is Allison. Could I have you pause for just a moment? We're kind of, as you're going, we're watching intently, but then I do have Michael here he's got the demo up on his computer, and we're trying to see if we can action exactly what you're doing to make sure that we understand the functionality.
Okay.
So just to back up actually a bit, we're back actually on the invoice header.
Okay.
And he went in and he double clicked,
Mm-hmm.
So if you go ahead and double click, yeah.
Yeah.
So in the invoice header, so if he wanted to actually select a supplier at this point in time, how is that data set populated?
Okay, so let's say here I don't have anything.
Mm-hmm.
Here I can, if I know a little bit of my vendor, I can type it in. If I don't know entirely, I can type the beginning of the name and put a percentage at the end, and it will find based on this search. And then you click on the dots here, it will perform the search. Here it retrieved 8 suppliers, and I will select one of them. And of course also, and then I will select a supplier site after selecting my supplier.
So we have to select the supplier site. It won't pick up the default site that we have selected. Like in
Yeah, I would
Oracle,
say,
we have
yes,
multiple sites within Oracle. Will this automatically pick up the
site, the default
primary
site.
pay?
Let me check on that. I'm not sure.
What are you talking about, Jennifer? So you're on supplier site?
Mm-hmm. So you're saying you had to go and select, after you select supplier, you had to select a pay site?
So
We don't currently have to do that. It automatically populates what the default is in the system. We're entering it into Oracle.
Yes, usually I have to do that. If I don't, I get an error. So I will check if there is some extra setup that we can do on the wizard. Like we have multiple profile options, and I will check if one of them would avoid that. I will get back to, I will get back to you on that.
Okay.
Is that all good on this part, or you want me to go through the attachment again, or the line user form?
No, perfect. I appreciate that. Thank you.
No worries. So now our dataset is ready to upload. We can either decide to validate the dataset first, so we can make sure we don't have any error in it, or we can validate and upload. So let's start with validate only. And then we have this upload button here. You can either upload only a selection or upload everything. Here I'm going to upload all. And of course, when it's doing that, I can perfectly be working on my instance at the same time. The same instance. And I can actually be working on my AP invoices at the same time. So here it's telling me the first error I have in here. You can decide to continue validating and don't show any more messages, and you will take a look at them at the end on the spreadsheet. So here it's telling me that only one invoice was rejected, so I can take a look at that. The other ones were validated. So I get those statuses back on the sheet. So in here, you have different status for the different sections that you have included in the form. So if something went wrong, also you can know the section that is with the error, because you will have the error on the right section.
Lily, I have a question for you. Because we're kind of using stuff that you already have entered here. Is there any way you can show us like entering a new invoice? And are you entering a standard invoice without any distribution sets?
So here I have a few options. What I did is include those columns. For some of them, I didn't include the tax. it will just retrieve it from my supplier. For some of them, I have included a tax line. So you have a few options. For some of them, I just put the tax code in here and it will figure out the tax line, the tax distribution based on the tax code I have provided here. So really, yeah, you have a few options to enter your distributions. And so all AP setups are different. So I don't know about your Oracle setup, but most of the time, many things are defaulted when you enter an invoice. So in here, it will be the same. You won't enter maybe all the fields as I did. Maybe you won't need it because you will have many things defaulted from your suppliers and everything. So if you want, we can.
I think what she's saying. Oh, just hold on 1 second. So Lily, so Jennifer, I think what Lily's saying, and Michael's pulling one up, right, and putting it into the test, is that whatever's in Oracle, we will build that we have the access to here. We customize this to be exactly what we want, so we don't even need to have it go out as far as.
Right. No, that I know.
As well as then once we pull in a vendor, whatever's in Oracle will auto-populate.
Okay, so it'll auto-populate all the distributions.
So I don't know if you want to pick one that has a specific, that you know you have a vendor set on,
Element.
we should be able to watch it.
Element.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, Lily, I just wanted, we're just, like I mentioned before, we're trying to be as interactive as possible as we're going through this with you.
Yes, that's the purpose of this training. So that's good.
Okay.
Would you like me to create an invoice from scratch? Or did you do it
Sure.
on your side?
We're doing it on our side as well, but why don't you just go ahead while we're doing that? Why don't you do the same?
Okay. So I bring up the user form to do so. It will be easier. So I will put an invoice number and then I will search for supplier.
Looks like we're reconnecting.
Okay. So right now I'm just selecting a supplier, what we just did before, so it's okay. And I will wait for you. Let me know when you can see my screen.
Yep. Still unfortunately says it's connecting, but we definitely will let you know.
How do we get rid of this video?
So I have
You just click on that. Or the minimize button.
Well,
can you
On the
not
left.
can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Perfect. So
yeah, my camera's still-
like we did before, I went to the invoice header and I entered all the general information, like my supplier, the invoice number. And now I'm on the invoice distributions. So in here, I can enter the line type, for instance, an item. I can include my line amount, give a description to it if I like. If there is a tax to calculate, I need to enter a tax code. So again, if I don't know the tax code, I can just enter a percentage. If I know it, at least if I know a partially the name of my tax code, I can enter this, the beginning and then a percentage at the end. And then I can select from this list my tax code. And then here I can say, does this amount here, 100, include tax or not? Yes, this includes tax, or no, calculate the tax on top of the 100. So here there will be the 15 calculated on top of my amount, my line amount. And here, the charge account, yeah, usually it's defaulted. You don't have to enter that. So it will really depend on your setup. You won't have to enter everything. So here I have a few other tabs. Most of this is grayed out because they are not included in my wizard right now, but if you need them, yeah, you can also include those columns. So were you able to create an invoice on your side?
I've got one. I'm just trying to get a distribution set on it, but I don't know what line it is. It's 14, but I have to go quite far over to the right.
And so in here for the invoice total, I can use a formula, I can type in the value, but if I don't want to do that, I can just put a calc, and I can actually also put this on a default value row, which is the row number 10 here. So anything you put on this row number 10 will default in any other row left blank below. So it's a convenient feature to be able to not enter things many times. You can just put it in the default value row here. So in here I could put calc, for instance, to have all my invoice total calculated automatically.
What, you
So
don't
the calc,
enter your own invoice total? I don't understand why you're calculating an invoice total.
so if I put calc here, it will calculate, it will do the sum of all my distributions. So I don't have to do that.
So you don't have to double key if there are multiple lines, or
So it's gonna take your
So-
distribution lines.
Just to avoid to put the invoice total, you can just put this calc and it will take the sum of all your distributions.
And then you just have to verify that that is your actual invoice total, I guess.
Yes, yes.
Well, but if we don't key it in
Yeah,
here,
or
then it'll upload wrong.
If we don't keep one in.
If we don't key it, if she's calcing based on her distribution line, she's going to calculate the invoice total. Whereas if we were to do that, we'd have to verify that that is in fact the total before it is uploaded. Where we would, if we key in the invoice total, then it would fail on the upload if the distributions didn't match.
you would probably still want to put the invoice
Right,
total in so
right.
that it validates.
So if I bring back the user form on the header level, I can also click on calc here. Okay, here I need to put my account. It's mandatory in my instance. So in here, if I click on calc, I will see the amount here. So I have a few options. I can either, if I don't want to verify my invoice total, I could have put calc on the spreadsheet as I did before. But if I want to see the amount calculated and verify that I have not made a mistake on my distributions or anything, I will enter the user form, the invoice header user form, and I will click on calc here, and it will actually sum up all my distributions amounts and put it here. Okay? Would that be better for you, this option?
Yeah, I'm still a little unclear on it, but.
To be quite frank, I am too, but what exactly is going on when we put in calc?
It takes the sum of the distributions that were entered. So it may not necessarily add up to the invoice total if there was a mistake on a distribution.
Yeah, so I said we would need to enter in.
That should always say calc, right? Because it's taking the sum what's over on the right.
No, we should manually key in the invoice total to verify that our distributions equal the invoice
The
total.
spreadsheet does not do that.
Right. Otherwise, it would just calculate what the total of the distributions and say that's the invoice amount. So if
Which doesn't always mean we're always paying what the vendor says we should pay. So, I mean, I can see both ways. So we should know the functionality because we might be short paying for some reason. That's a process thing. We can take that offline. It's nice to know the functionality, but from a process standpoint, I mean, there is instances where we know we're purposely short paying an invoice. So to say that we're always just going to say invoice, we can take that offline. That's just that's a semantic.
I'm trying to add a distribution to element fleet invoice, and I click on distribution set, and I'm like looking at all.
Do you have to put the name?
Even looking at the red stars.
Should we?
And then shall we make you? We'll make you presenter again.
Perfect.
How do we?
Can you see my screen?
Perfect. Yep.
So let's, now that all our invoices are validated, we would like to upload them to Oracle. To do that, I will choose the validate option, validate and upload. And again, I can highlight a few invoices, any column like this, and upload a selection. Or I can upload all the data set, which I'm going to do right now. So when you choose validate and upload, the wizard always starts with validation. And after validation, it will process all the invoices in Oracle. So now it's done. And we got some pending status back on the sheet. Here you don't see accepted straight away because as in Oracle, you need to submit the payable import to move the invoices from the interface table to Oracle. So in here, you will choose invoice interface, submit invoice import. In here, you will choose your batch. So the batch is your user, your tab name, and the date. And then you will start import. You can actually see your concurrent request from the wizard. So you don't need to go to Oracle. You will go to invoice interface and view concurrent requests. And here you can see your invoice program. You can refresh. So now it's done. And you can go back to here and click on refresh so that you can see your statuses. And here it's asking me if I want to load my attachments now. So you remember I had included attachments on one invoice. Of course, to be able to put attachments, I need first to create the invoice. So that's why it's doing this at the end of the upload and creation in Oracle. So here I say yes. And again, while it's doing this, I can perfectly be working on an existing invoice. It does not tie up my computer. I can also work on my emails on my Oracle instance, anything at the same time. So here I can see that I got processed on all my invoices. The only thing is that here you have validation status columns and it says never validated. As you know in Oracle, after creating an invoice, you need to validate it. So then you can submit invoice validation from here. In here, again, you will have your batch name defaulted. You can also add the date if you want to have better performance, it will help. And then you click submit. And again, you can take a look at your concurrent requests within the wizard.
So we're first importing the file and then we have to validate it?
Exactly. So the import is basically, so the wizard actually populates an interface table. So the submit payable import is to move these invoices from the interface table to Oracle tables, so your Oracle form, basically. So this is the first step. And the second step is when they exist in Oracle to validate them. So while it's doing that, I can actually show you the download functionality. To download, I can first show you how to download existing invoices that we have just created. I can download on the same tab, or I can bring up a new tab to do so. So here I will bring a clean tab. I will copy paste my invoices. And I will choose this button, download. I have two options to download. I can use a form, or I can put my criteria in the spreadsheet, highlight those criteria, and click download usage sheet data. So when I hover on this button here, at the bottom, you can see a little comment saying that you can download based on the following columns. So you can download based on the invoice number, supplier name, supplier site, pay group, and hold name. So in here, I chose the invoice number. Now I'm gonna download those invoices. So again, when you discover a new wizard, it's nice to start with downloading existing invoices from your instance. So you can mimic those invoices to create new ones. Like if you create the same invoices every month, the best thing to do is just download the invoice from the previous month and just change the invoice name or the amount, these kind of things.
Well, why would we download an invoice to copy? That doesn't make sense to me. Because we don't create the invoices. We're getting invoices from suppliers to enter. So there would be no reason for us to download unless we're correcting an invoice that's on hold in Oracle. And here's what we need to, but if we actually have like purchase orders and stuff like that, you know, we actually would utilize this from like a download standpoint. So what we're doing is we're creating efficiencies that Oracle currently can't give us, right? Okay. So keep an open mind. Let's just go through the training. Let's keep an open mind and how we can actually utilize it. Okay. She's giving us what the tool can do for us. It's our job to then take it and tailor it to how it's going to maximize our efficiency.
I have one quick question, Lily. This is Catherine. Once we download and see what fields we are inputting on all of our invoices, I know you said the worksheet is customizable. Is it better, can we actually delete columns if we're not using them, or is it better to hide?
Yes, I would advise to actually delete the columns you don't use. This is how you will get the best performance when uploading, when opening a user form. So when you think you're going to reuse a column in the future, you just hide it. And when you think you won't use it because it's not in your process, you can just delete it. And this is how you will get the best performance of the wizard.
Okay, thank you.
So here I have downloaded the few invoices that I just created. And now I'm going to show you some extra, how to do some updates on these invoices. So on top here, you have an extra button. With this button, you will be able to do some maintenance on your invoices, like cancel invoices, update descriptive flex fields, update the payment method, these kind of things. So we can do a few of these today. So first, I can cancel the first invoice. So you can either, by default, it will cancel the selected invoice. So the one I'm highlighting right now, the row number 12. But you can also, if you have multiple invoices to cancel, you can just download all of them on the sheet. Then click this cancel button and click entire sheet, and it will cancel all your invoices on this tab. So here I want to cancel only the first one, and I click proceed. And here it's telling me that it's canceled. So on the second one, we can do something else, like put an, what do we have? we can bring up the extra again. And let's update the payment method with electronic. Today it's check. So I can use that also to mass update my payment method in the system. So again, I will go to this. I will click update payment method. I can do this on one invoice or multiple invoices, and then I will click proceed. And here I will get the status back with updated. So I know that my payment method has been updated. If I want to make sure it's done, I can actually copy paste and download again using the same feature we just did. Download using sheet data. So you put your criteria and then you highlight your criteria, the invoice number, and then you download using sheet data. And here we can see that the invoices was updated. So this, you have multiple things here provided on this extra form. You can also update the payment due date, the remit to bank account, these kind of things. So just this extra button is available when you activate a profile option. So by default, yeah, you need to activate a profile option to be able to do that, because we do direct updates in Oracle tables with this form. So we need your agreement on that, and that's why there is a profile option to activate. And then we can also do some invoice holds. So to do that, you have an invoice hold section. You can bring up the form for this section. Here you can choose a hold name, like invalid PO. And then you can upload hold. And again, you will have feedback on the sheet with the uploaded hold on your invoice. And of course, you can also download your invoices and release holds on your invoices. So again, you will bring up this user form and you will choose a release hold. And upload the release. So of course you need to have a certain setup in AP. So here I'm able to put all the holds I want and all the releases I want, but it will depend on your user and responsibility.
That's where that invoice on hold I find to be extremely beneficial from how our current state of doing it, as well as this is going to be an enhancement, because right now we actually then put invoices on hold and we manually go to an Excel spreadsheet and we actually...
And we can attach the invoice right to this.
Yes, so that's where the export is. This is the part where I wanted you to hold and say, hold on a second, because when we see stuff like this from a processing standpoint, because I know for a fact we spend way too much time on our invoices on hold. And then the reporting that we can actually get out of it, because how we see it coming out. This is one of the ones that I got super excited about.
Those status, and those status messages, are those live? I mean, is that
those are what we have in Oracle, and we can create those. We can create whatever we want.
So think of the manual spreadsheet that we do now, and now we'll actually have the ability to have it right here. This is massive. I'm full end game, but I'm like 80% there on how we can make this a full end game and save a significant amount of time.
Yes, especially if we attach the invoice right away and we send those off to people. They don't have to contact us or anything. They'll be able to have the full visibility of what's wrong.
Yeah, so I think I missed the thing about attachment. So you say we can attach.
We can attach invoices to here. We don't want to upload them to Oracle, but we can still attach the invoice on here and export it. Am I thinking this the correct way, Lily? Is that if we have an attachment and we export this, will the attachment export as well?
So yes, here I did not include the attachment section, so you can't see it. But on the first tab, here I had the attachment. So you will see that when you download your current invoices, if you include this, this section.
Yes, actually uploaded in order.
An order, okay.
Yeah.
Do you remember this part?
But that would be our end game.
I know.
But no, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's totally off the table. So like,
So the last thing we're going to take a look at, we have 15 minutes left.
That's how it's out of my read.
Last thing I would like to show you is how,
I don't want to. But can we just finish this?
yeah.
last thing I would like to show you, yeah, no worries. We have 15 minutes left, so I think it's the perfect timing to show you the PO matching functionality. So we are going to do that now. Here, as you can see on the top ribbon, you have a PO matching button. So the first thing you might want to do is enter your PO number. And you can enter your PO number, your supplier name, and then download the PO and all the information necessary for your invoice by...
Do you have to enter a supplier name with the PO number?
Yes, you have to. I'm going to check because actually this wizard is a brand new version and maybe they improved it, but before we could not do that. So yeah, they released this version a few days ago. So maybe they actually included this. So yeah, they did. Before we were not able to do that. We needed So here it's telling me, do you want to also include the receipt number in this download? So here I don't have a receipt number for this, so I will say no. So here it's downloading all the important information of your PO so that you can easily create an invoice against it. So here we have the invoice line that were populated automatically based on my PO. I have a quantity unbilled, so that's the quantity available to be billed basically. And then I can just fill up. I leave it like that if it's all good. If I'm doing a fully matched invoice, I can just enter the invoice information, like the invoice number. Here I can do calc so that I don't need to calculate that. So here I didn't choose the right invoice, the right PO.
What if we're receiving only some line items on a PO?
Yes, so I would actually like to show you that just after. So the first thing, so here you can say I want to invoice only one item from my PO. So here I will change the quantity invoiced. So I have only one item invoiced from this PO. So that would be the first thing. And then you will just create the header. You will just put your information here, your amount here. So I did not put a distribution amount. So I just would like also to show you a different way to download your POs. That will probably be better for the question you asked. So here you can choose PO matching, match distribution using form. So to do that, actually, you will need to enter your supplier in the form, because when we do that, we can actually search for all the POs from one suppliers, these kind of things. So if you know part of your PO number, you can enter this here. If you don't, you just leave it blank. So in here, I will actually do that, then search. So using this form, you will be able to select a match type, which is purchase order or which is receipt. So I'm starting with purchase order here. So yeah, it's not supposed to be that long, but I'm connected with a VPN to an instance in New Zealand right now, so it's not the best performance on my side. So what you can do here is select the invoice you want to, the PO you want to invoice, move it to the selected matches in here with the arrow. And in here, you can edit the quantity you would like to invoice. So this can be useful if you have multiple lines and you want to invoice only one line of your PO, these kind of things, or you have 2 items on your PO line, but you would like to invoice only one item, you can easily do that. So you will just change the quantity in here, select OK, and then download only this. So it will download the information that I wanted, the quantity that I want to invoice. And then I will just have to create my header, my invoice header against this. Is that something you currently do?
We match to a PO and we basically pull up all of the PO details and we select which ones we're going to match to.
Okay. So of course, if you want to invoice against a full PO, you don't need to worry about this. You will just enter the PO number and that's it. But in here, you have multiple ways to do that. If you want to only invoice certain lines of your PO, or if you want to match to just one quantity, one specific quantity, you would do that.
So by doing this, by utilizing this form, we're already going to download what is received on the PO. It's already going to tell us what's there.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes, the quantity received is here. No, sorry, I'm not sure I included this column actually. You had it on the form, I just show you. So in here, when you bring up this form, you can actually see the quantity that has been received and billed. So I think I deleted these columns from my sheet, so that's why I could not find.
And if we are downloading the PO, will we see like items on the PO that are not received? Like it'll say 0 received out of 50 ordered. Will we have that visibility when we download the PO?
Yes, because basically it will be like the unbilled quantity, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yes, you
Okay.
will see that.
Which is more visibility than what we have currently.
So in here, I showed you a match type purchase order, but you can also match your receipts if you have receipts against the purchase order. So in here, I'm not sure I have receipts against them. Do you also do that, match against receipts?
Yes.
So yeah, on this supplier, I don't have any receipts. But you will use, yeah, you will use this option here.
Multiple releases, we can select like multiple on rather than having to save and re-enter.
And then
It's going to be learning. It's adapting to a different way of doing things.
I think ultimately the most significant benefits. I'm seeing some good takeaways. The on hold right there. Long time was spent on that.
And then to finish on this form, you will have extra criteria for your POs or for your receipts to be able to search for specific receipt number or ship to some items, this kind of things. So that's about it for the PO functionality, the PO matching functionality. If I just go back to the first tab we worked on today, I can see now that my invoices are validated. You remember I had run the validation for all my invoices, and now I have this column here with validated status. So that's about all I have for today. We took a look at how to create AP invoices, including credit memo prepayments. We did PO matching. We downloaded some invoices and did some updates, put some holds, some release on some invoices. So this is all you can do with the AP Invoice Wizard. Do you have any question about what we have seen? Or you need to practice now?
Yeah, I think you nailed it, Lily. You've given us the tools, showed us how, from a high level how it works. Now we need to say, here's how our current state and how can we apply it to the tool that we now have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, I get it. Perfect. Then thank you for your time.
Thank you, Lily.
And, I do have one. So are you going to send me a link to did you record? So we have
Yes,
we have
I
all
did.
these details that we just went through.
Yes, I did. So.
Okay, and then, and as far as, I do have one more question. And as far as just, how the functionality of all the different fields and stuff work, do we just have to use the help that actually your cursor is right next to it, or is there some other kind of guideline, or do you recommend using that?
Basically, you have everything and even more that I showed you on this user guide. So you have really specific scenarios that are really developed, which, yeah, of course, we didn't have much time to develop all scenarios. But if you take a look at the user guide, you can actually have really developed sections on each functionality, how to enter your tax, the different way to enter your tax, how to calculate the invoice total, how to match selected invoice lines. So yes, if you can't find what you are looking for, or just things you are doing that don't work the same way on the wizard, and you would like me to explain more, just reach out and I will help you on that.
Okay, perfect, great, thank you.
Thank you so much.